What if I told you that you could drink the same exact thing every day, and depending on the time you drink it, you either burn more fat or you completely miss the benefits? And what if I told you that most people who take apple cider vinegar for weight loss are taking it at the wrong time, and that's why they never see real results? If you've been adding apple cider vinegar to your routine, but the scale isn't moving, your belly fat isn't shrinking, and your cravings are still out of control, then you need to watch this carefully because timing changes everything. Today, I'm going to break down the best time to drink apple cider vinegar for weight loss, how it actually works inside your body, what happens if you drink it at the wrong time, and the exact way to use it safely so you maximize fat burning without damaging your teeth, your stomach, or your metabolism. Now let's get something clear right away. Apple cider vinegar is not magic. It's not a fat-melting potion. It's not going to override a terrible diet or zero movement. But when used strategically, at the right time, in the right amount, it can become a powerful metabolic tool. The reason it works has to do with blood sugar control, insulin sensitivity, appetite regulation, digestion, and even how your body stores fat. When you drink apple cider vinegar, especially the kind that contains the mother, you're introducing acetic acid into your system. That acetic acid is the key compound. It slows down how quickly food leaves your stomach. That means your blood sugar rises more slowly after meals. When blood sugar rises slowly, insulin rises slowly. And when insulin stays controlled, your body is more likely to burn fat instead of storing it. That's the foundation of why timing matters so much. Let's talk about the most powerful time for weight loss. The first timing strategy that gets the most attention is drinking apple cider vinegar before meals. And this is not random advice. When you drink it about 10 to 20 minutes before a carbohydrate-containing meal, it can blunt the blood sugar spike that would normally happen. That means fewer cravings later. That means less energy crash. That means reduced fat storage. Think about what normally happens. You eat rice, bread, pasta, fruit, or even something healthy like oatmeal. Your blood sugar rises quickly. Insulin spikes. Insulin's job is to move sugar out of your bloodstream and into your cells. But insulin is also a fat storage hormone. When it's high, your body is in storage mode, not burning mode. By drinking apple cider vinegar before that meal, you're essentially flattening that spike. Studies have shown improved insulin sensitivity after consuming vinegar before high-carb meals. That means your body handles glucose more efficiently. So if your goal is fat loss, especially stubborn belly fat, drinking 1 to 2 teaspoons diluted in a full glass of water 10 to 20 minutes before your largest carb meal of the day can be extremely effective. Notice I said diluted. Never drink it straight. Straight vinegar can damage tooth enamel and irritate your throat and stomach lining. Always dilute it in at least 250 to 300 milliliters of water. Now let's talk about another powerful timing window. First thing in the morning. A lot of people love to drink apple cider vinegar on an empty stomach. But is that actually the best time? The answer depends on your body. Drinking it first thing in the morning may help kickstart digestion and slightly improve blood sugar control throughout the day. For some people, it reduces morning cravings and improves appetite regulation. If you're someone who wakes up hungry and tends to overeat at breakfast, taking diluted apple cider vinegar before breakfast may help you feel fuller sooner. However, if you have acid reflux, gastritis, or a sensitive stomach, drinking vinegar on a completely empty stomach may cause discomfort. It can increase irritation and make you feel nauseous. So if you notice burning, discomfort, or bloating, it may not be the ideal time for you. Now let's talk about nighttime, because this one is underrated. Some research suggests that taking apple cider vinegar before bed may improve fasting blood sugar levels in people with insulin resistance. Why does that matter for weight loss? Because your overnight insulin levels influence how much fat you burn while you sleep. If insulin stays elevated overnight, fat burning is suppressed. If insulin remains stable and lower, your body can tap into stored fat more effectively. Drinking diluted apple cider vinegar about 30 minutes before bed may help stabilize blood sugar through the night, especially if you tend to wake up hungry or experience nighttime cravings. But again, this depends on your digestive tolerance. If you get reflux when lying down, bedtime may not be ideal. So which time is truly best? Here's the truth. The most effective time for weight loss for most people is before your highest carbohydrate meal of the day. That's when you'll see the biggest impact on blood sugar and insulin control. If you eat your biggest carb load at lunch, take it before lunch. If dinner is your largest carb meal, take it before dinner. Now let's talk about dosage because more is not better. The sweet spot is usually 1 to 2 tablespoons per day total, divided into 1 or 2 servings. Start small. 1 teaspoon diluted in water once a day. See how your body reacts, then gradually increase. Too much vinegar can lower potassium levels over time and potentially interact with certain medications, especially if you're on insulin or diuretics. Always pay attention to how your body responds. Another mistake people make is thinking apple cider vinegar replaces healthy habits. It doesn't. It amplifies them. If you combine it with high-protein meals, resistance training, adequate sleep, and controlled carbohydrate intake, the results are much more noticeable. But if you're drinking it while consuming processed sugar all day, you're fighting an uphill battle. Now let's talk about appetite control because this is one of the biggest reasons people see weight loss with vinegar. Acetic acid may increase feelings of fullness. When gastric emptying slows, you naturally eat less without feeling deprived. And weight loss that doesn't feel like suffering is sustainable weight loss. Some people also report reduced sugar cravings when taking apple cider vinegar regularly. That may be linked to improved blood sugar stability. When blood sugar doesn't spike and crash, you don't feel that desperate need for sweets 2 hours later. Let's also clear up myths. Apple cider vinegar does not detox your body. Your liver and kidneys already do that. It doesn't melt fat directly. It doesn't magically speed up your metabolism by 200%. The effects are modest, but real when used correctly. Here's a practical routine you can follow. Wake up. Drink a glass of water first. If your stomach tolerates it, add 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar diluted in water before breakfast. If you prefer, skip morning and instead take 1 tablespoon diluted before your largest carb meal. If you're insulin resistant or have high fasting glucose, consider a small diluted dose before bed, but monitor how you feel. You can also add a squeeze of lemon or a pinch of cinnamon to improve taste and enhance blood sugar support. But never add sugar or honey if your goal is fat loss. Let's talk about how long it takes to see results. This is not a 3-day transformation. Most studies showing measurable changes observed effects after 8 to 12 weeks. That's consistency, not random use. Also, combine it with strength training. Muscle tissue improves insulin sensitivity dramatically. The more muscle you have, the better your body handles carbohydrates. Apple cider vinegar plus resistance training is far more powerful than vinegar alone. Hydration matters too. Vinegar is acidic. Drink through a straw to protect your teeth. Rinse your mouth after. Wait at least 30 minutes before brushing your teeth to avoid enamel damage. And here's something people rarely talk about. Gut health. Apple cider vinegar contains beneficial compounds that may support digestion for some people. Improved digestion means better nutrient absorption. Better nutrient absorption means better hormonal balance. And hormonal balance influences fat storage. But remember, if you have ulcers, severe acid reflux, or chronic gastrointestinal issues, consult a healthcare professional before adding it. Let me summarize this in a simple way. If your goal is weight loss, especially reducing belly fat and controlling cravings, the most effective time to drink apple cider vinegar is 10 to 20 minutes before your largest carbohydrate meal of the day. Morning can work if you tolerate it. Nighttime can work for blood sugar stability. But pre-meal timing gives the most metabolic leverage. Consistency beats intensity. Small amounts daily, combined with smart eating and movement. That's the formula. Today, we're diving into something that most people overlook when they start using apple cider vinegar for weight loss, which is the timing and who really needs to be careful. Most people think that apple cider vinegar is safe for everyone and that taking it at any time will just magically help you burn fat, curb cravings, or stabilize blood sugar. But the truth is, not everyone can benefit from drinking apple cider vinegar at the same time. And for some people, the wrong timing can actually create problems. So today, I want to focus specifically on who should avoid certain timing strategies, particularly those with hypoglycemia, people with sensitive digestion, and those who are on blood sugar medications. Understanding these nuances is absolutely critical if you want to safely incorporate apple cider vinegar into your routine without unintended consequences. Let's start with hypoglycemia, because it's a condition that's often misunderstood. Hypoglycemia simply means low blood sugar, and it can happen in people who don't eat regularly, skip meals, or who have an overactive insulin response. When you take apple cider vinegar, especially on an empty stomach or right before meals, it can blunt the blood sugar spike that normally occurs after eating. For someone with hypoglycemia, this is not always ideal. If you already tend to experience low blood sugar episodes, adding vinegar at the wrong time can make your blood sugar drop even further. That might lead to dizziness, shakiness, fatigue, irritability, or even fainting in extreme cases. So, if you know you're prone to hypoglycemia, the best approach is to be extremely cautious about pre-meal timing. It doesn't mean you can't benefit from vinegar at all, but it may be better to take it with a small amount of food rather than on an empty stomach. Starting with a very diluted dose, such as half a teaspoon in a full glass of water, can help you gauge your tolerance without triggering a drop in blood sugar. Moving on to digestive sensitivity. This is another big consideration that most people ignore. Apple cider vinegar is acidic, and when consumed in larger amounts or at the wrong time, it can irritate the stomach lining, esophagus, or even cause bloating and nausea. People with conditions like gastritis, acid reflux, or ulcers need to be very careful. Taking vinegar first thing in the morning on an empty stomach might seem appealing because it's convenient, but for someone with sensitive digestion, it can worsen heartburn, create burning sensations, or trigger other gastrointestinal discomforts. Even taking it right before a large meal could be problematic if your stomach is already prone to acidity or if you've eaten spicy or fatty foods. For people in this category, it's often safer to dilute the vinegar more heavily, perhaps 1 teaspoon in a full glass of water, and drink it after a small snack or as part of a meal rather than before. Some people even find that spreading it throughout the day in smaller doses works better than one concentrated serving, which reduces the risk of irritation. Next, we have people on blood sugar medication. This is a group that cannot be stressed enough because the combination of apple cider vinegar and certain medications can create significant risks. Many people with type 2 diabetes or insulin resistance are taking medications like metformin, sulfonylureas, or insulin itself. These medications already lower blood sugar, and when you add apple cider vinegar into the mix, especially before a meal, you're further blunting blood sugar spikes. For most people, this is beneficial, but for someone on medication, it can push their blood sugar too low, leading to hypoglycemia. That's dangerous and can have serious consequences if not monitored. If you are on any glucose-lowering medication, you absolutely need to talk to your healthcare provider before changing your apple cider vinegar routine. Timing is everything. In some cases, it might be better to take vinegar at a different time of day or in smaller doses to avoid compounding the effects of your medication. This is why monitoring blood sugar levels closely is crucial. You might even consider checking your glucose before and after trying vinegar to see how your body responds, because individual responses can vary dramatically. Now, let's tie these considerations together with practical examples. Imagine someone with mild hypoglycemia who also has occasional acid reflux. If they were to take a full tablespoon of apple cider vinegar diluted in water first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, they could experience a double effect: blood sugar dropping too low and stomach irritation. This combination could leave them feeling weak, nauseous, and even lightheaded, making it difficult to go about their day. But if that same person takes just half a teaspoon diluted in a larger glass of water with a small piece of fruit or a few almonds, they can often reap some of the benefits of vinegar without the negative side effects. This is why personalization is critical. There is no one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to timing apple cider vinegar for weight loss. Similarly, consider someone taking insulin or a sulfonylurea. If they drink a concentrated dose of vinegar right before a carb-heavy meal, they might inadvertently drop their post-meal glucose too far. This could trigger shakiness, confusion, sweating, or in more extreme cases, the need for emergency glucose. On the other hand, taking a smaller, diluted dose with the meal itself or later in the day when blood sugar levels are more stable can help them achieve some metabolic benefits safely. Another factor to consider is your personal tolerance and your overall meal pattern. Some people simply have more sensitive stomachs and can't tolerate the acid regardless of timing, whereas others can handle it before meals, with snacks, or even in the morning without issues. That's why starting slow is always recommended. Even within the safe range of 1 to 2 tablespoons per day, how you split that dose and when you take it can dramatically impact both comfort and results. For people with sensitivity, dividing the total daily dose into smaller portions throughout the day can prevent irritation while still offering benefits for blood sugar, appetite control, and fat metabolism. It's also important to remember that hydration and proper dilution play a huge role. Drinking apple cider vinegar straight can be a disaster for teeth and stomach lining, but even when diluted, those with digestive sensitivity need to pay attention. Using a straw to drink through, rinsing the mouth afterward, and waiting at least 30 minutes before brushing your teeth are simple steps that protect your enamel. For someone with a sensitive gut, adding a little water, a pinch of baking soda, or a small amount of juice like lemon can reduce acidity without losing the metabolic effects. Now, let's address timing strategies more specifically for these groups. For people with hypoglycemia, the ideal strategy may be to avoid empty stomach doses and take vinegar during meals or after a small snack to prevent blood sugar dips. For digestive sensitive individuals, spacing out doses or taking it after meals can reduce irritation. And for people on blood sugar medication, coordinating vinegar intake with meal timing and consulting a healthcare provider is critical. This isn't just about convenience, it's about safety. It's also worth noting that tolerance can improve gradually over time. Someone who initially cannot tolerate vinegar on an empty stomach may find that after a few weeks of diluted doses, they can handle it better. But patience is key. Rushing into high doses or aggressive timing strategies can backfire, creating discomfort or dangerous blood sugar swings. The key takeaway here is to listen to your body, monitor how you feel, and adjust timing accordingly. Another overlooked consideration is that individual variability plays a huge role. Two people with similar weight, age, and activity levels may respond completely differently to the same vinegar timing. One person might see improved appetite control when taking vinegar before breakfast, while another might experience bloating or heartburn. Similarly, someone taking insulin may need to test multiple timings to determine which is safe and effective without causing hypoglycemia. Finally, it's important to integrate vinegar into a holistic plan. People with hypoglycemia, digestive sensitivity, or blood sugar medications need to consider not just timing, but the context of their meals, the composition of their diet, and other lifestyle factors. Vinegar alone is not a magic solution, but used thoughtfully, it can support weight loss, stabilize blood sugar, and improve appetite regulation safely.